Good evening, everybody. He's still sitting there. All right. So tonight we're going to talk with some of the junior firefighters in the area. We have a couple from over in the city over here and a couple here from the borough. We're going to discuss with them about why they got into the fire service, whether they had a parent in there or not. Now, most of them have parents except for one that are involved in the fire service. And we'll get into that stuff. So next to me, this way. Camera's backwards. Sometimes. This is Captain Rob Giles from the Greensburg Engine 6. He right now is the advisor to their junior program. On this side, I have Maylee, and then Isaiah, Gavin down the other end, Chase and Logan on the other side. Logan's nickname's Radar, so you know. We call him that because he looks like Radar from Match. So he has a big satellite ears. Gets a lot of reception. He knows we have a call way before we even know you can hear a call taker. So anyway, so between here and I know other people in the area have their own programs and do things. Rob was telling me about the Crabtree has one, and I know Henfield has one, and there's plenty of them. I see juniors, from different places here and there. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a small borough. The city's a little bit bigger. How many people do you have now, Charles?
We figured that out the other day, but those that turned 18 and a couple new ones that just joined in. There was about 15, 16 right now.
So they got a large number of juniors on their roster over there, and it's a challenge because of their age. Is everything good? We're restricted to what does that mean? But anyway, because of their age, it's a challenge they have restrictions, with the laws and just like labor laws and whatnot. But we try to do as much as we can with them while they're at the younger age. I think there's been some changes to the laws as far as like your essentials class and things like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
You can be 17 now and take your Mod 4 where you weren't able to before.
You weren't even started before until you were 18.
Start to Mod 4, okay. So now they're able to do some of that stuff. And like I said, with the restrictions and that, it's a challenge to train them and try to keep them interested at the same time. But of course, we have to follow the child labor laws. We have to follow. Now, again, Gavin, your dad's a deputy chief in the city, right?
That is correct.
And you, I'm sure that's what got you into the fire service.
Yeah.
It's a family thing. Obviously I've seen you around, you've done enough, training and things, and you're getting to the end of it, aren't you? You're getting close here.
Yeah, I'll be 17 in about 18 in about a year.
Okay, so you got a year left.
Yeah.
And so you've been through essentials yet?
Yeah, all the way up to Mod 4.
I'm
taking my BVR technician right now and firefighter 1.
Oh, you can do that now?
Yep.
Okay, so you can get into rescue now and doing that type of stuff. That's good. And I know you can do EMT at 16, right?
Yeah, you can take EMT at 16.
If you wanted to do EMT or any of that stuff at 16 years old, you can. Now, Isaiah, you don't have any family members in the fire service.
No, my mom was really the only one that kind of like inspired me. She was a EMT.
Okay, so there was some tie there, one way or another, in emergency service. But now it seems so difficult, and I don't know what it is. Like when I went to Greensburg, like you guys always go to Greensburg except for Chase, right? But when I was at Greensburg, geez, there was a fireman in every classroom.
Yeah.
And it's just not like that anymore, I don't think, even up there in the hallways now. And I guess the change has been what? Do you think it's the video games or?
I don't know. I mean, part of it is that there's so much going on. I mean, even with these guys, these guys are some of the ones that are really involved in our junior program, and still, come football, you're in football, they're getting old enough, they have jobs, girlfriends. Like it's the same with us with families and wives and kids. Like it's just something's pulling them in all directions. So I mean, they try their best, and we try to be flexible with our scheduling for what we do.
Well,
It's
of
tough.
course, right there. I mean, there's all kinds of school programs
Yeah.
now, and everybody's involved in that stuff. But something, and that Canjaw's page we have, I posed a question the other day. What are we doing wrong to get young people more interested in? If you grew up with a parent as a firefighter or something, everybody knows what it's like around the fire station. You know what I mean? It's a different place here. I mean, you poke fun, do whatever, and all that stuff. And, you have to be careful with that and the way times are today. But one of the other things, and I thought about it when we really started to, bring this back around to here, because we didn't really have it. I mean, before this bunch here, Maddie was my daughter was our other junior fireman, and she was just my daughter, so she was just hung around with me and did it. But before that, and part of the problem in here is in the fire stations was the bars. Parents didn't want them down at the bars at the fire stations, and of course, ours is gone now, and I know a lot of the other ones are starting to close down. It's just a thing of the past, just the way it was. So I'd be curious to know. I always ask even my younger employees at work that what's different now than it was when we were kids. Now, of course, when we were kids, the only thing to do was come home, get on your bike, ride down to the park, fool around, or go up to the fire station. For us, it was the fire station or whatever, and hang out up there. So it was an easy thing to do because there wasn't nothing to do. What can you do? You know what I mean? Now you see like even myself, I got my phone in my hand all the time, fooling around with this stuff, and that's I don't want that on. I want to actually see where we're at here.
I mean, we run into the same problems. I mean,
I can't see nothing that's going on that other thing, and I'm trying to get it. Oh, you have it? Okay, thanks.
I mean, when we first started this, getting it back on, I mean, there was always a 420 program in the city, which, some of our older assistant chiefs and all that went through a long
Yeah, like if I can remember, and back when, all the way back, if I remember at number 6, Tommy Bell did it, him and I think Tony Crescenzo or whoever was around there would help him out with it, and it was being that bunch up there. And then we had Chuck Baker at number 7 too.
Mm-hmm.
We would go over there like we were like 10. You know what I mean? All the way down to there. Then when we were, I think it was 14, we became 420. And I remember Billy Wright was in there with me and a bunch of other people. Yeah. But they were all in there. We did that at number 2. And then it kind of fell away.
It did. And then, like I said, we didn't have any juniors for the longest time. When Tommy Bell, our chief now, took over, he wanted to start the junior program again because, again, our average age was, above 60 in the fire service in the city. So we obviously had to get new blood. These guys are our future. But at that point, we didn't know what to do, where to start. Okay, we got a couple of our firemen's kids that, all right, they're falling into the fire hall. We still had nothing really solid. So when we started doing it, we met with everybody, which is, I think you and I talking earlier. At that point, we met with at the Lloydsville and Pleasant Unity and Johnny Batcha and Billy Watkins and Crabtree. And those guys had a pretty good program in Unity Township, and they were very willing to give us every bit of information that we needed. And we kind of stole a bunch of stuff that they did, as they were willing to give it to us, put that all together along with, the new state laws and the state guidelines and child labor laws and the amount of time that they're allowed to spend at the fire hall. And we put it all together in this stack. And at that point, I kept going down to the city every other day and telling me, is this okay with you? Is this okay with you? Is this okay with you? And he's like, just put something together and then we got to do it. The hard part was, and I'm sure you guys ran into this, when we started all this in the city wasn't set up for it, meaning that we had to change laws at the Board of Control level. We had to change our bylaws at company levels to allow 16-year-olds, to allow then later on the 420 program, which is 14-year-olds.
Right.
None of that was in anybody's bylaws. So it took a lot of time and a lot of people to be able to change that to get there.
And, you know, not that none of you have thick skin, you youngsters up here, but, you know, back when, and I remember, and I've heard that it still happens now a good bit, as much as I pay attention. Sometimes the older members aren't as receptive to these young guys being around the fire station, right? Like they're going to do something or run off with the truck or you know, bother equipment or make something unsafe or you know, for what we need. And that's not just in anybody. It happens all over the place, I know, and I hear about it, you know. Well, you talk to some of the young guys, well, they're tough about, you know, us doing this or being in the fire station without supervision. And I get some of that stuff too. You know, because you got guys and girls involved now too, and then that brings another animal to the table.
Absolutely.
So you have to be careful with it, but at the same time, you have to let it be interesting enough, right, to keep them interested enough.
Right.
And that's I think that's part of the struggle is getting them. And I got to tell you, like people that don't know or have never, you know, come down to the fire station or even went on a drill for that matter or did that, they don't know. And I think once you get it, you might get a little bug for it, and then maybe get them more interested. And one thing we did talk about before, about like recruiting and whatnot, is we got to catch these young people at the middle school age, you know, starting into high school maybe. And of course, we train them. They may not end up here.
Yeah.
And you have that. I mean, you have that now. I mean, they may end up in a paid department. Some of these guys are gone already. You know, you have one that just went. I mean, he's off on a paid gig somewhere.
Yeah.
And some might have to move out of the area because of our makeup in the area for jobs and things like that.
Even at the very beginning, like we knew that. Like these guys are stuck around, more power to them. But, you know, at one point you have 35 kids that were, let's go. And it might be whittled down by the time they get to your age or they're close to being 18. There might be 4 or 5 of them left that still have the interest. Like, but listen, those are still now 4 kids that we didn't have.
But even, right, and even if we're training them here and sending them off somewhere, now we're helping somewhere, that can happen elsewhere too. If people would be more receptive, some departments don't want nothing to do with any type of junior firefighter program.
We found that out at the very beginning. When we set this up and we were very involved in the school district, you know, we'd go into Greensburg-Salem School District and have some of our younger members, you know, talk to the kids and all that. We were basically at that point recruiting more for Brode, Salem Township, all that, because those kids lived in those areas, even though they're in the same school district.
Right, we have a spread out school district.
Yeah, so we did a lot of recruiting for other people, but guess what? We got somebody involved in the fire service.
Yeah, you get 1 or 2 or whatever, and you don't know even those kids out there. You don't know if they're going to make their way towards this way or one of the boroughs or something. I mean, we have 2 boroughs, the township and the city in the school district. So you know, people move around from that areas there and do all that. But all right, Logan, it's your turn. You're going to talk. You ready?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right. I want you to tell me what you like about the fire service, being around the fire station. You know, of course, you go on trainings with us, and like I said, you're limited to what you can do, but you get to see it at least anyway. And you know, even at a fire scene or something, you know, with a certain, they can get us equipment a little bit, and that's helpful, right, to us because we're limited. We were just talking with Sean last time about 1 or 2 men on the engine or women whatever, but,
Yeah.
one or two people on the engine, 3 people maybe, and then you gotta do all this other stuff, but we can't get hose and whatnot. But anyway, what, what keeps you interested in this thing?
Well, I like how it's always like hands-on and stuff, and then the experience you get on it, the life lessons you see, not just on scenes, but in trainings, and just the bonds overall you get with the people around you.
That's pretty good. Did you rehearse that? Oh, okay. I thought maybe you were looking at a mirror at school or something. I'm paying attention, rehearsing for the show. But,
My English teacher yelled at me for that.
well, yeah, you're right there. And, you put up with a lot of stuff around here. We bust on you a little bit about certain things and whatever else, but you take it pretty good, and you're just a little fella. And you're coming up on 18 too, aren't you?
Yeah, in about a year and some.
You're not too far away. You're starting to get into the medical field.
Yeah,
So he wants to be, what do you want to be, a nurse?
flight nurse.
Flight nurse. There you go. He wants to fly on the hell. He's small enough too. They won't let me on.
Have the wheel shut up.
They won't let me on the helicopter. We'll bring it down. I'll be leaning one way going down the roadway. But, so Chase is new. He's been here, I don't know, a few months or so, 6 months, 8 months, or whatever. And he comes from a firefighting background. And Chase, you love him, right?
I do like it.
So what do you like about it, and what things, can you tell people to get people interested?
I like that everyone's treated like equally to everybody. That's what I like about it. I like all the hands-on work, like with the band that we did by the waterworks. That was fun.
Yeah, we got some stuff going on down there, and you get to see stuff, right?
Yeah.
See stuff you definitely won't see sitting in front of your TV at home playing on that Xbox or whatever. And a big thing is now, and during my time, there wasn't a lot of females in the fire service. There were one here and there, but now it's a thing.
It is. And we figured that out during our recruiting. When we started out, hey, we were in a high school trying to get kids. Well, they're already in the sports and in the girls, whatever. So then we went to the middle school, and you find some different things. And it just seems like, you're still into football or whatever, but more and more girls are like, well, I'm interested. Am I allowed to take a thing? Well, absolutely. Why wouldn't you? So,
and anybody that knows me, I was at the city for a while, and then when Maddie was getting older and playing all these sports, I didn't have a minute for it.
yeah.
And then when she started driving and could take herself to practice, I was, what the hell am I going to do with myself? Well, I might as well go back to the fire department, see if I get abused over there, and see what can go happen on over there. But then she said to me, she goes, well, I want to do it too. I go, huh? And I'll tell you, she did it. I mean, other than, circumstances that have come now, with her moving out of town and that, she was a match man, masked person, whatever we call them now. But, there were times I say, wait for me. You're not going there without me, especially in the beginning, because I'm not going home and explaining to your mother why you're, laying under a ceiling or something. But she did it. And we had another female firefighter here, Morgan, and we made a joke. Sometimes they have more stones than our male firefighters. And it was real. I mean, I remember when we had an attic fire over here, Morgan's, I'm behind her, she's boom, right up into it. And I'm like, well, hell, so it's not just for males anymore. And I don't think it ever was. I just think the way we've changed, that now, males, females all get in there. And I got Bailey sitting next to me. Now, Bailey's younger. She's part of the younger bunch that doesn't get to do even less than the other two. How old are you, Bailey? What? You got to talk louder, kid.
13.
Oh, okay. She's a little nervous. Huh? She just wants to sit there with her arms folded. But she's involved in Girl Scouts and the band, right? And you do the plays. You were a little flower or poppy seed or whatever, huh? I remember you had a little green outfit. I put your picture up. I think that on Facebook. But anyway, and her dad's a member here. He's sitting right over there. He's the tech guy that I have to tell how to tech stuff. He's answering comments on TikTok or whatever. But so when you became old enough to start hanging around the fire station, coming over with your dad, you were excited to do it, right? And even Logan's sister's coming up here pretty soon on her time. But what do you like about being around the fire station?
I like the way I actually get to do stuff and like not just like classroom learning, like actually like doing stuff.
We're getting your hands on it, like Logan said. And you know, sometimes you get to do stuff maybe you wouldn't normally get to do, right?
Mhm.
Some different stuff, get to see different stuff. We were down just past couple of weeks demoing rescue tools. They all got to watch, and we cut a couple cars apart, and they got to watch all that and see all that, how that all works, and you know, they were pretty interested in it. And you know, again, the training's tough because of what you're limited to do. You know, they can't be on the highway, this and that's it, you know, whatnot. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, that you are learning life lessons, like one of them said, and there's a lot of life lessons to be learned at the fire station. Believe me, I probably learned most of my life in the fire station or being around other members of the fire department. But you know, you guys, Isaiah, how old are you?
17.
All right, I thought you would say he's 14. That's my big ass 14. But he's actually scares me a little bit. But so your mom was in the medical field, the emergency services, you know, that medical stuff, and that, you know, and that's a good thing because a couple of, you know, we have a couple around here, and thank God for them because we, you know, we go on ambulances and stuff. I mean, if you're out laying on the floor, have no pulse, I know how to do something, but if you're sitting there telling me something's wrong inside, I can't figure it out. I'll put a pulse ox on you, make sure you have enough oxygen and stuff. And where's Mr. Slade at? Tell him hurry up. But you know, we have enough around here. Did the medical field interest you at all, like that EMT stuff, or no?
A little bit.
Yeah. All right. What? So did you get through your essentials yet?
I just actually finished up mod 3.
Good. Oh, good. Then you'll be getting close to, you can do your mod 4 then coming around when it comes up. That's good. That's good. What station are you from?
Number 1.
Number 1. Okay. So that's out on the north end of town.
Mhm.
And I don't know how many. You don't have a bunch of juniors out on the
No, there's just me and
one
one other.
other one.
There's 2 of you out there now, yeah, but that's.
But okay, so tell them about your experiences in the fire station. You know, what you like about it, and you know what the stuff that you know you just picked up along the way.
Really like just learning from the other guys. The older guys can really teach you like some knowledgeable skills that you can use almost on every call.
Yeah, older guys aren't always bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can be a pain. They're not always bad.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to get to be one of them older guys, and I look around. And you know, when I first come back, we were at a fire somewhere, and Tony Manley was behind me. And actually, it was up here, and him and Hoyle were up there, and I said, "Man, you guys were old when I was a kid, and Jesus, they're still around." You know what I mean? These guys are, I mean, you know, what, 30, 40 years some of these guys have been in. And that's where we're headed. With the age is the problem is, you know, I don't know what our median age is around here. These guys drag it down a little bit. But geez, you get on a truck, you know, I got a 58-year-old driver, or, you know, a couple guys on there. I mean, I'm almost 50. And you know, we have to get this youth involved, and that's going to be a big thing going forward, and it's a challenge, really, you know, because I know some answers are just, hey, it's just not going to work everywhere, you know, all the time. Now, a mixture of it is probably, and we can already see we're headed there, right, just by the surroundings. You know, and it's not a bad thing, but it's just not going to work in every place. You know, someday we talk about when we consolidate it down to much if we can't right the ship somehow. Now, Gavin, what do you think something we could do something better we could do? We're missing something. that to get younger people interested in this thing?
I don't know. I almost feel like there needs to be some type of week-long camp or something in the summertime at our training complex or anybody's training complex.
No, you're
Towards
right.
the
I was
younger-
smiling at you. I was
towards-
smiling at her because she has something. Go ahead.
Towards the younger kids.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
not the high school kids, because high school kids are already involved in so much. Get into the middle school, get a couple kids to sign up. Maybe they'll learn something. Maybe they'll join. They join. They tell a friend.
You almost have to get them there to see what you're doing,
Yeah,
right? You
yeah.
can't just
tell
I mean,
more
you can
stories.
talk till you're blue in the face about what yous are doing and the things that you've been around, and you might get a couple people interested, but you got to get somebody. Like, I know if you would go down Lynch Field when I was a kid, the trucks would be down there and they'd be doing stuff.
There is, like, we've done a couple of junior days. When we first started, like I said, I keep going back to we got a lot of this from Latrobe and Unity Township. Unity Township used to do that week-long camp at St. Vincent for nothing but kids. We'd take the kids out there and they'd go through it. That kind of fell by the wayside. I know two of our girls now have done a girls' camp with Pittsburgh Fire Department for 2 years in a row now. And
Something like a Chicago Fire, but
like it's almost like a Girls on Fire thing. Yeah, that they've done that. But most of our recruiting, as you know, like, hey, your daughter was involved. Go tell your friends.
Right.
Which is what we do with Gavin. Hey, go tell your friends. And these guys have done a good job. I think you guys probably have the most, number 3 right now. You probably have what, five juniors up there at that station. So, and they've all kind of recruited their friends. Come see what we do. You might like
come
it.
check it out,
Yeah.
hang out a little bit or whatever. And that's one thing, and I know even like when I go back to when I was in school, elementary school up at Ludwig Elementary there, where it used to be there when across from the emergency room at the hospital. Class Snyder would come in. I don't know, I can't remember if it was once a month, once a quarter or something. But, in the wintertime, he'd come in with, with some information, just talking about fire safety and things like that. And then, when it was warmer out, they'd bring the fire truck up and you'd go out and see it. And that was good for, the younger people get you excited to see those big trucks and whatnot. And then Scott Hurst took that over at one point.
Yeah.
And now we don't do any of that anymore.
I mean, other than like we still have, I know Station 8 and David Jackson and take a truck and go see my wife's preschool kids, but that's real
Right,
kids,
and we
you know what I
do-
mean? It's going out and doing that during
Fire
prevention.
We do that here in the borough but you might be peeking them there at that point, just seeing the big truck, and they're a long ways away.
Sure.
But and I don't know if we can get to the Franklin County. I assume that's them green and white trucks I always see on Facebook. Is that who you're talking about? They're a pretty busy company too, if I'm not mistaken. They must have some type of week-long camp there. So that's something that we can check out. But we almost have to, while we have to train for our end of this thing, we have to keep them trained enough and interested enough. It's just a matter of knowing where things are on the fire truck. And simple things like that, getting on hydrants.
I tell you what, it does pay off because I will give these guys a lot of credit. Like when we've done the hose laying competition between our city departments, a little like firefighter Olympics kind of thing that we've done the last couple of years. The juniors have their own team and they train for that weekly in the summer.
Right.
Just for that hose laying competition. And they do a good job. These guys, I guarantee, because we put it into their heads repeatedly, every one of them could probably hit a hydrant better than 95% of our regular firemen in the city because they do it all the time. We force them to do it. When's the last time you hit a hydrant? I mean, it's something that's a forgettable task.
So your chief actually had mentioned that to me at one time. He goes, I want to let one of these youngsters hit a hydrant before some of our, we've had some hydrant hitting issues in the area as a whole.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do it or whatever, but and you're right, it's repetition. I mean, I can do it. I don't know how long it's going to take me, and it's been a long, long time since I've done it. But,
There was a truck fire up on Clark Street in the city. What was that, last summer or whatever? That I came from work and I ended up being there like, hey, I went in a city truck. I'll hit the hydrant. You guys go. And I thought about it. It ended up being me and Henry Fontana. And he goes, when's the last time you hit a hydrant? I go, probably 20 years ago. He goes, last hydrant I hit was when my garage was on fire. Like, it's just not something we always do.
right.
So,
And that goes to play with us. I got a thing with the truck. I was, when my wife was staying with Maddie when Sutton was deployed, I was staying here at the fire station.
Mhm.
I woke up one night and we had a house fire in Youngwood, and I'm like, okay, so I'm driving the truck, and we get there, and now we're not like third, fourth due, we're right in there, we got to hit the hydrant, and I'm like, damn. So I back up to the hydrant, and the guys jump off and do their thing back there, and it's like, it's a ridiculous leg, so we got to put relay pumpers in there and whatnot. But anyway, I'm pulling in right up behind truck 24, and 26 needs my tank water, and this one, and one of the guys left their helmet cam in the truck, and it was on. And I'm talking to myself in the truck. We listened to it after. And it's like, okay, Matt, put the truck in neutral, pull the park and
just
brake,
reminding
drop
yourself.
it in pump gear, and then put it in, and then get out, and then I'm looking at the pump tank and pump this. So you gotta, you know what I mean? Even for us, we have to keep doing that, and you keep them going after that hydrant thing. I push on that hydrant thing.
I mean, you talked about
that's
before,
a job they can do.
You talked about before, like keeping these young guys interested. And I think the way we've tried to do that, you guys can speak on this, is like, obviously your juniors are probably the same. Like, they've come to every single training that we do as a department. Plus, we do a separate, hey, junior night, so they get more hands-on stuff doing it.
Right.
That's kept these guys interested to the point where I can recall both of these guys. Isaiah on one, I remember, I don't think that anybody had to move to fill a bottle or take an SCBA somewhere because you were motoring at Grant Street, just taking bottles back and forth. Like, so these guys, there are jobs for them to do that aren't in the hot zone for them to get into trouble.
Right.
We pulled into a house fire or that small brush fire the other day, and before I got to tell the other engine, hey, whose hose do you want to pull? Gavin already had the hose off the truck and was running towards the back of the house before he handed me the line. Like, he already had it done. These guys know
Pull
what
it,
they're doing.
set it, drop it on the ground.
These guys know what they're doing.
And I'll tell you, my first experience with Gavin, and he may not remember, it was probably the first run around I had with him. It was an attic fire over in Southwest. It was 95 degrees outside. I'm obviously fat and overweight. I was sweating, and I come out, and he helped me get my SCBA off my coat, took my SCBA, went and got my cylinder filled. And you remember that, Gavin? And but he did all that, and he didn't even know who the hell I was. You know what I mean? And I real frankly didn't know who he was. But they just did it, and that is what we need, and that's the stuff that they can do, and to keep them, going and interested in this whole thing. And they play an important role, and I hear there's some naysayers out there about it, about the programs and their kids and this and that and the other thing. But if we don't get them early enough, they're going to be gone. And then, they'll never know about it. They just won't. And I'm sure there's more we can do. And the other thing is, and we're even, same county.
I was just reading it.
He says same county. Them guys, they run a lot of wrecks and stuff. That when I was talking about, I watch them all the time. But one thing we probably should do better at, and this is the fire service as a whole, but with the juniors too, is we could probably work with other departments.
Absolutely.
You know how we like to stay in our own little shell with things and trainings, and one don't want to go to training with this one because they don't like this guy or whatever. But and just right there, a lot of the stuff training that Banner says is all about the training right there.
I mean, I think that's something we would have to do. If, say, we would try to bring back this little week-long summer camp for the juniors, it would have to involve Greensburg, South Greensburg, Southwest Greensburg. I mean, because there's not that many of them. It's not like you're going to get 100 kids.
But I think one of these, if you ever watched the show before or pay attention at all, one thing we talk about is getting everybody to the table to figure out how we're going to fix these problems, you know, whether it's with regular members, junior members, and all that stuff. And sometimes we don't want to do it. It's a hard thing. And, you know, me, even here, we're guilty of the same, you know, the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
But I think we can do better probably is getting us all together maybe at some point for a drill here and there or whatever, or you know, swap it back and forth and whatnot. But
And that's why it takes bodies and it takes hours. You know, we're constantly focused on our own training and our own skills, and you're keeping, you know, your chief here, you got to keep this running, captain of my place, got to keep that running. Then you still have to make room and time for the juniors. Like it's a lot of time. That's why it can't be one person. There has to be multiple people
right.
that are involved in helping us out, or it doesn't. Why's he got to give you slack?
Always busting. Always. I'll try to get him on here because I think he's scared.
Maybe.
If we had the green screen up, we would put him up on it. You know, we can't stay on task. This is the fire service. We never stay on task. We go from one place to the other every time. But Gavin, anything else you can think of that we, like I said, and anybody, I don't care who answers. You know, is it something we need to get people into the schools? Is there something, you know, you guys can be doing? I know, actually, Maylee, we'll bring your thing up now. She's talked to you about it
Yeah,
already?
she sent me a text message.
Okay. So, what are you going to do? You have to explain it. I don't know nothing about it more than what you told me or whatever, but it's your thing, and this is where we got to break this nervousness and things like that, and tell us about what you're going to do.
Okay, so kind of like he said, that like a week-long thing, but we're gonna do like a day camp, a junior firefighter boot camp down at Lynchfield. We're gonna do like a 4-hour like class, kind of like with like a bunch of different stations, like showing people like what they're gonna like be getting into and like what we do and different things like that, so that we can get more people interested to join.
So there's something you have to do for Girl Scouts, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's part of some merit badge, or I don't know what they call them in Girl Scouts. That's what they call them in the Boy Scouts when I was in the Boy Scouts. Is that what it's called, a merit badge?
Silver award.
Oh, okay. Okay, same difference. Merit badge, silver award. What's the difference? You get a patch on your little sash thing, right? You have them sashes with little patches on them still?
It's the best, actually.
Oh, didn't they used to have a sash in one across there? Man, oh, it's a brownie throw? Anyway, I don't know. But I do know that you get these little patches and stuff. So you have a vest. All right. So you got that coming up, right? When are we doing that?
Like,
Or we don't know yet?
like the beginning of June.
Okay, towards the beginning of June. We'll get more information on it, and then we'll put it out there a little bit so people can get involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so that's one thing there, maybe. If somebody gets one person out of it, right, it was probably well worth it.
We just said too that we had to get back into the schools because we used to go to the schools more, but then, you know, the kids that we had in schools got older, people changed jobs, couldn't get into the school. Like, so some of these guys we're going to help use to get back into the school. Just talk to people, talk to their friends. And I mean, you guys sit in the booth during the night markets and talk to kids and people coming in too. It's just wherever we can try to do it is what we're doing.
I remember some emails going on around about that, Alex. I do remember we had talked about getting, because I think everybody was involved, Salem Township,
Yeah.
Southwest, us, because we were all in that school district. Well, all the schools except for one of them, well, two of them, right, fall within the city
And the
limits.
school, the program in the school isn't there like it used to be.
So that program in the school was the VOTEC program?
No,
Or that's still there?
Yeah, so I got lucky and got into the VOTEC program. That's how I was able to take mods 1 through 4. BDR.
Oh, okay, you did all that down there.
I'm currently in it still.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll take EMT next school year. That's the
Oh.
whole school year long. Alex tried to start, like, we have these clubs at Greensburg where you and a bunch of people hang out in a room for 30 minutes out of like once a month or something.
Alex is a younger guy?
He's one of our juniors.
Oh, okay.
He was a junior.
He's 18 now.
He's
Oh, okay,
a
okay.
full member. He's actually enrolled in EMT through CWCTC right now.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you did all that down there. I thought it was just some class you did. I had no idea.
If they get into the what is it, emergency services, protective services, yeah, that's what Brett's deal did. It's not working, and Swissville or whatever. You
Right.
come out with EMT and firefighter one and what all that.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, that's a hell of a start because, once you become 21, 22 years old, well, so you gotta start having a kid, then you're done. You're not going to firefighter one and doing any of that stuff.
Yeah.
You better get that out of the road or else you're gonna do it when you're 45 and then you can barely do it.
Any of you guys that have been through that program said it's phenomenal. I mean, the
Yeah,
instructors
yeah.
are good. And
But a club or something wouldn't be bad in the school, and I don't know how receptive to the school is to some of that stuff.
And like I said, that's where there used to be something, but if the people that were involved with, I forget, it just fell by the wayside, like it was a club or whatever. And that's why we didn't have it anymore. So we've had to kind of try to do our own.
Chase, do you have anything, what school district are you in?
South Laurel.
Okay, do you have anything down your way that they do in school or anything, or is there any, do the fire departments come into the schools or anything like that?
Not recently.
No? What about, now that VOTEC, are they tied together from Southmoreland to our people?
Yeah, so you Southmoreland, Hempfield, Greensburg, York. There's a ton of schools. There's a ton involved in Central Westmoreland.
Okay. And I mean, they have a ton of programs down there, I remember, thing. If I remember right, some of that started back at my time even.
Oh, I'm sure.
They had something that, but I know, like, when I was in school, even in the high school, they bring the foam truck out and dump the foam over the hill, land a helicopter in the middle of the practice field and do whatever. And you guys still do the prom wreck? Is that still a thing?
We haven't.
That hasn't been done for years.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I gotta think that's probably something that's pretty effective on a
Yeah.
lot of ends, right?
You would
I hope
think.
so.
You would think.
It's been several years since the school asked us to come up and do that. But I remember we did do that at one point.
The last thing I remember the fire department doing at the schools were like when you and Jay came up to the middle school and talked to a large group of us.
Yeah, like during an assembly.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's, a part of our lacking and just calling up there and saying, hey, we need to do this and, keep the future secure here with this mess. So, all right, anybody else? Logan, you have nothing to say?
Nope.
Nothing. You want to talk about MASH or anything?
I'm good.
All right. You have to watch it?
Yeah.
Chase, you got anything else?
Nope.
Bailey? I figured that.
More to come on your week camp.
Yeah, we'll get the information for her camp once she gets everything in line here. I guess I'm gonna have to holler at her after we're done here. Looked like you're slipping a little bit. Remember we made some progress that one night and then Isaiah, what about you? Got anything else to say?
Nope.
Gavin?
Yeah. If you're young, get involved.
That's right.
Get involved as soon as possible. It's
And
great.
this isn't just the fire service too, if you want to, first responders, the whole, we're volunteers, so, well, I'm gonna volunteer my time, but even the police are having a hell of a time. I mean, I remember, Maddie went to the academy, she was getting to be almost 19, she wasn't quite 19 yet when she started. And that was unheard of back then, you were on a waiting list. State Police Academy, waiting list, these different things, so, that's the whole thing. Giles, you got anything else?
No, like these guys said, man, just get involved. And if you see a neighbor and somebody who asks to go look at your fire trucks, let them in because it might pique their interest. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't know what we're going to do next time. I haven't even put much thought into it actually getting past this, but we'll let you know. We'll come up with something. I don't know, maybe we can get one of them truckies over here to talk about something. Maybe we can get him out of his shell and off his recliner, come over here and talk to us a little bit. But yeah, he says squirrel. He didn't spell it right there. You see that? I know you got a spell checker on the damn phone or computer, whatever you need. Ask Amy how to spell squirrel, bro. But anyway, I appreciate you all coming over here and taking time out of whatever you were going to do, play a video game or hang out at the fire station. But I appreciate you all coming and we'll see you next time.